Trump files motion asking for special master to go through documents seized from Mar-a-Lago. So basically, Trump is going after the FBI. So former President Donald Trump filed a motion Monday demanding federal investigators stop going through material seized from his Mar-a-Lago mansion earlier this month until a neutral special master could be appointed to review the records. The 27-page filing in Florida federal court also asked for the federal government to provide more detail about what was seized in the August 8th raid on the 45th president's Palm Beach estate, and demanded the Justice Department return any item not covered by the search warrant. And by the way, that search warrant I think it was actually leaked or basically revealed that it's an extremely broad search warrant, which typically just never happens. So we are now demanding that the Department of Justice be instructed to immediately stop the review of documents illegally seized from my home. All documents have been previously declassified, Trump said in a statement on his Truth Social platform soon after the motion was filed. The former president went on to call the FBI's raid an unnecessary, unwarranted, and un-American break-in that violated his Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable searches and seizures. The filing, which is the first by Trump's side since the raid, suggests the FBI search was politically motivated, calling it a shockingly aggressive move that was undertaken with no understanding of the distress that it would cause most Americans. Law enforcement is a shield that protects Americans. It cannot be used as a weapon for political purposes, the filing said. Therefore, we seek judicial assistance in the aftermath of an unprecedented and unnecessary raid on President Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago. The complaint notably described Trump as the clear frontrunner in the 2024 GOP presidential primary and general election should he decide to run, adding that politics cannot be allowed to impact the administration of justice. Elsewhere, Trump's attorneys argued that the more than 24 boxes of documents seized in the raid were presumptively covered by executive privilege. This matter has captured the attention of the American public. Merely adequate safeguards are not acceptable when the matter at hand involves not only the constitutional rights of President Trump, but also the presumption of executive privilege, the filing said. And Trump's complaint claims there is no reason for the FBI to raid Mar-a-Lago because the former president had already been cooperating for months as the Fed scrutinized the presence of classified documents at his Florida home. According to his complaint, the raid came 2 months after Trump and his attorneys voluntarily cooperated with a May 11 grand jury subpoena to turn over additional documents. Trump invited the FBI to come to Mar-a-Lago to retrieve the documents on June 3rd and even greeted the agents in the dining room, the filing said. The FBI officials were then shown the basement storage room where boxes of documents and other memorabilia from Trump's 4 years in the White House were kept. The document claimed that after seeing the room, one FBI agent told the Trump team, "Thank you. You did not need to show us the storage room, but we appreciate it. Now it all makes sense." The filing also confirmed reports that DOJ Counterintelligence Chief Jay Bratt requested on June 8th that the storage room door be secured, as well as surveillance footage from the resort was subpoenaed 2 weeks later on June 22nd. 3 days after the raid, on August 11th, the former president's attorneys attempted to convey a message to Attorney General Merrick Garland from Trump. That message, according to the filing, was, "President Trump wants the Attorney General to know that he has been hearing from people all over the country about the raid. If there is one word to describe their mood, it is angry. The heat is building up, the pressure is building up. Whatever I can do to take the heat down, to bring the pressure down, just let us know." The same day, Garland announced he had requested the unsealing of the search warrant and the list of what was taken. In his statement Monday, Trump said he would have handed the seized documents over without the necessity of the despicable raid of my home 2 months later. He added that he wanted to give them to the National Archives until they are required for the future Donald J. Trump Presidential Library Museum. Trump's motion was filed hours after U.S. Magistrate Judge Bruce Reinhardt formally denied the Justice Department's motion to keep the affidavit underpinning the search to be completely sealed. The Justice Department argued at court hearing last week that the affidavit's release would provide people with a roadmap of its probe and possibly chill witness cooperation. And the thing is, the biggest issue about this is that them doing this is probably one of the stupidest things that they could ever do because it's going to anger so many people. It has angered so many people. Like, there gets to a point, right, where people aren't willing to accept a lot of BS anymore. Like, you gotta be really careful with that type of stuff, right? Like, it's starting to get to the point where, like, hey, do you guys even know what you're doing? Like, do you even know the kind of line that you keep crossing? Like, it's going to get potentially really bad. So let's see some of the comments. Let's see. Okay, so this is basically just like a lot of hate in the comments, one way or the other. Yeah, there's just like a lot of hate in this like comment section, right? Like it's almost like every single comment is a hate comment, right? Yeah, so I'm not even going to basically read any of these comments. It's just like straight up hate. But the way that I view this personally, right? Because I just think it's stupid for the FBI to raid Donald Trump because they were already in discussions with Donald Trump, right? Like, it just goes to show you how stupid the organization of the FBI is that they can't even communicate with one another to be like, oh yeah, we are already interacting with Donald Trump, so yeah, let's not raid the thing. Let's just go through this process and see what comes out of it. But no, you gotta make like a big spectacle about raiding Donald Trump. So now you're gonna have a whole bunch of people that absolutely love Donald Trump be extremely pissed off, right? Like this type of thing and the way that these government officials are like really trying to kind of like get the outcomes that they want by swaying the public's view is like, hey, you guys are basically playing with a lit match in one hand and a gallon milk jug filled with gasoline in the other hand with no cap, right? It's getting to a really dangerous point, right? Like, it doesn't take that much more for something bad to really happen. Like, I think the FBI, the government well, what they should have done if they wanted to do something like this is just go through a very subtle process, right? Which some of them were doing, but then basically no communication and basically screwed the whole thing. But what they basically need to do now is try to be as open and honest, shocking, right? because that's never going to happen, but be as honest as they can about this whole process. Because if fans of Trump, or even people who don't like Trump but think this raid is beyond stupid, if they find out that this whole thing was over nothing, that is really going to damage the government, like to a heavy, heavy extent, right? But feel free to give your thoughts one way or the other. Do you like that Trump got raided? Do you not like that Trump got raided? What are your viewpoints on this whole sort of thing? I personally think this is like the perfect example of the disorganization of the FBI. That's what I see from this. That they can't even communicate with one another because they have no clear game plan as to what they're actually doing.